Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on the Rundown, 2A news, conservative views, and Craig. Guess what day it is?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Woo-hoo! That's right, folks. It is hump day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we do not. But hey, the fun is all in the trying. How's the effort going thus far, Mike?
I feel like I got a head start, but now I feel like I failed. I just got this empty now. So.
Unfortunately, I right now, so far for today, I am at a failure. But good things are on the horizon. So I'm thinking if it doesn't happen tonight, it will for sure happen tomorrow.
There you go. Just gotta, never give up, never surrender.
Never give up, never surrender. That's right. I'm trying to adopt the attitude of it's the weekend. At least if I can do that for the rest of the day, I'll be good.
There you go. And Salah.
Salah.
Yeah. It is God's will. It's just gonna happen. It is Allah's will. It's just gonna happen.
It is Allah's will. It is Allah's will. All right, so hey, let's jump right into it real quick. But obviously before we do, we got to make sure give that shout out to the sponsors.
That's right. Let's say hello to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. Get your butts over there. Get yourself a new barrel for your AR, for your pistol, your rifle, whatever you need. They've got it to take care of you at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Make sure you reach out and take a look at what they're doing and maybe help them out as well. If you want some awesome combat gear, tactical gear, web gear, go to uscombatgear.com. And in fact, I talked to Scott there, the owner, a fellow vet. He said his site's been getting throttled. He said they've been knocking it down because they don't like the military themed stuff. So make sure you reach out to uscombatgear.com. Also, holidays coming up. Perfect time to get you a present, a special gift for that someone. A nice concealment Kydex holster from Hog Holsters, HAWGholsters.com, HAWGHogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all capital, one word.
You know, folks, Mike just hit on a big point. We had a chance to talk with one of our sponsors over there at U.S. Combat Gear. Now, mind you, they don't sell firearms. They don't even sell firearm parts. Maybe accessories, like lights and stuff like that. And the social media folks, the internet folks, the Google gods, as they like to refer to themselves, they're doing everything possible to make sure that they throttle them, to make sure that they're not getting in front of you. So do us a favor. When we ask you to go there and check them out. I know you go there, check them out. I promise you will like what you see. And when you do, go ahead and make sure you let them know that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And that's, by the way, that's the case for all of our sponsors, whether it's Hitman Industries or whether it's Hog Holsters or even the California Republican Assembly. They don't want anything conservative, anything liberty-minded. They're going to try and tamp down. So it's up to us to go there to support them, but also to share it with our friends, to let our friends know that these are good companies that support, that share the values that we share. And those are the sorts of companies we need to be doing business with. So once again, the links for each one of them is in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, and make sure you tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you.
That's us.
That there be us. And that, by the way, is also a reminder. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to us. And by the way, do it in multiple places because, right now, I believe for one of our YouTube channels or two of our YouTube channels is currently suspended. By the way, for a video from back in January, mind you. Yeah, probably because of Mikey. But that's okay. That's okay. But that's why we're on in so many places, because if they shut us down in one place, you can always go watch us in another. So but do us a favor. Make sure, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. All right. Now we'll get on to today's subject, or at least the first thing. We were talking a lot about the election, the special election, which took place yesterday there in Georgia. At stake was either a 50-50 split in the Senate or Democrat full-blown majority of the Senate, sans Vice President Harris. And needless to say, well, not needless to say, but if you've been following what's been going on, you know that, well, Warnock has won. That's right. Raphael Warnock has won there in Georgia. And so now the control of the Senate is now 51 Democrats, 49 Republicans, which is going to, by the way, have an impact. That's going to basically mean that it's going to create a challenge in many cases for Republicans to be able to stop stuff, and in particular certain confirmations that are going to take place there in the Senate. The thing that worries me the most, quite frankly, are some of the judicial confirmations, because now 2 Democrats would have to decide that they are not going to support whoever the nominee is coming from the White House. It also is going to affect the ability. It's also going to affect appointments to certain committees. Now that they have a clear majority, you will likely see a smaller number of Republicans on each of the committees, as if that were actually possible, but you probably will see that. But, Mike, the one thing I wanted to make sure to let folks know, and because the one thing you're hearing in the liberal media is they're trying to say, well, this is a sign that maybe Georgia is turning red. No. Herschel Walker was the only statewide candidate, Republican statewide candidate, to not win election this year. He was the only one that did not win this election season. So this is, I would say, less a commentary on Republicanism and the direction of partisanship there in Georgia, and a little bit more of a commentary about the quality of candidate that Mr. Herschel Walker was.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, and again, they're calling out to trying to say, "Oh, we beat Donald Trump's candidate." Go look at the total numbers. It's not even close. I think the man was, 20 out of 23 for his endorsements or something along those lines. It is, Craig. It is more difficult to beat an incumbent than to beat somebody, a challenger. So listen, that's what happens. The uneducated voter, and I mean uneducated like on the candidates, not like they don't know math or anything like that. But it's if you're uneducated on the voting, you're probably uneducated on what's going on around you. You go in, you go, oh, look, the incumbent, he seems to be doing a good job. I'll just vote for him again. So the uneducated voter picks the incumbent. I don't believe that this makes that much of a difference at all. We were already down 51-50 effectively. Now we're just down 51-49. The votes will not change. The Senate is, don't get me wrong, the Senate is important. It's the big leagues. But the House is where the money comes from and where the laws come. Remember, both houses of Congress must agree to pass the law. So it doesn't just come from one place or the other.
Oh, you're right. In terms of overall, in the big picture, this election cycle was a victory for Republicans, because it's going to take a lot for them to be able to overcome the Republican majority in the House and pass any legislation. So we know that. I think when I look at this thing, and unfortunately, there were some times in which Herschel Walker had there were times when he was just trying to have like casual conversation and be funny, and it didn't come across real well. And quite frankly, they used that to try and brand him as not smart enough to serve or to be a senator from Georgia. And it kind of makes me mad, because if you had done that with any Democrat, any black Democrat, they would have been screaming racism. But not only did you have Democrats doing it, you had black Democrats who were doing it as well, pushing that sort of racist, like, he's not that intelligent. I'm like, look, he's not only I mean, he not only was a professional athlete, he's a relatively successful businessman and leader in the community. To treat him the way that they did, while at the same time defending Fetterman in Pennsylvania, I found it to be the height of racism, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely right. And how many other people should we give an intelligence test to? How many people else do we know that are sliding past, the sanity stage of their life and moving off into the never land of pink gumdrops and yellow rainbows? They can't tell the time or when it's tapioca time, that kind of thing. Craig, one other thing to add, because this went to a runoff election, is listen. If you vote third party, you're voting for the Democrat. Okay, it's. I'm sorry, that's all there is to it. A vote for the third party is a vote for the Democrat. You might be the greatest libertarian ever, and the candidate in the Libertarian Party might be the best, or pick any other party that you want to. If you throw that vote away in this two-party system and give it to the Democrat because you don't like the Republican, you're going to lose. You're never going to find anybody you 100% agree with. And this special election, would not have to have been run at all if people didn't throw away their votes and vote third party.
Well, and if you look, the Libertarian candidate got about 2% of the vote in the last time, and pretty much it's appeared that those votes broke largely his way this time. So these were folks who, quite frankly, just either didn't bother to show up in this election in the runoff, or they decided they were going with Warnock, which meant they were probably just against Walker in the very beginning anyway.
Right.
Anyway, I will say this: I very much appreciated Herschel Walker's concession speech. It was very, very high class, and it was interesting to me to hear the number of Democrats actually giving him credit and praise for his concession speech. But in the end, I'll just sum it up to you the way our friend Jeff Brown on Facebook said it. He basically said the title of our show should be "Loser Wins."
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Anyway,
Craig,
I'll tell you who the real losers are: the people of Georgia.
Us. Now, you're a good church-going man there, like the rest of us here. Have you ever seen this Warnock preach? You ever seen him give a sermon?
I have never seen him preach, but I did. I don't know if you saw the whole Easter thing where he they sent out a message saying that Jesus, basically saying Jesus, we don't need Jesus to be saved. I will tell you, and I've looked in, I have heard and read a lot about his quote unquote theology. I spent more time questioning his fitness and his qualifications as a Christian pastor than as a U.S. senator.
Agreed. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe he's a better fit for the U.S. Senate than for the church pulpit.
I don't think he's a Warnock. I think he's a warlock. When you hear this, there on stage.
I have heard that before. I have heard that one before. All right, moving right along. So the Trump Organization has been found guilty. I know you're wondering what have they been found guilty of? Well, they were actually there was a trial that was taking place in New York, and basically he was being accused of let me pull it up here. He was being accused of criminal tax fraud and this was in a New York trial. Now, mind you, what he was guilty of was things like this. So if you were an employee and what they would do is they would, and you had a certain expense, so certain personal expenses, they were basically paying those personal expenses and then writing them off on their taxes. And then not reporting it, right? Basically, because if it's a personal expense and you write it off, that should be counted as income. Well, they weren't reporting it as income for some of their staff and some of their executives. The other thing that they were found guilty of was overstating information, overstating values of some properties that they had there in New York in order to get loans. So these are the things, and it's funny because it's all over the news, all over the left-wing media about Trump was found guilty. Trump was found guilty. And it's like, well, but now we know, first of all, nothing he did was, and by the way, first of all, Trump was not found guilty of anything. This is actually the organization and individuals who work within the organization. And by the way, it's really the organization, so there's no jail time. It's basically just going to be fines. And none of this had anything to do with him or the presidency or anything, but they're loving it nonetheless. Anyway, are you there, Mike? Okay, Mike is all still. I really don't think Mike really is concerned about this. But yeah, folks, so the issue once again that we're looking at here is people just aren't interested. I mean, people are once again misrepresenting what it is. They just want to see Donald Trump go to jail. In particular, they want to see and they want to make sure that him going to jail can potentially result in him not being able to ever run for president again. I mean, that's their ultimate goal. They don't want him to be able to run for office. They don't want him to be, they definitely don't want him to run for president. Although I don't understand why they don't want him to president, because if you think about it, if you stop to think about it, if he is as bad a candidate as they believe him to be, then you would think that they would be like, well, then he doesn't really stand a chance of winning. I mean, would he? Would he stand a chance of winning if he's as bad a candidate as they want to make him out to be? I wouldn't think so. But, then again, who knows? I don't know what to tell you. But, there we go. There be Donald Trump. There you go. It looks like we got Mike back. All right, Mike, tell us, man, what are your thoughts on this whole the Trump organization getting convicted thing?
Let's be clear on this. This was a civil case. A civil case. This was not a criminal case, okay? This is a typical New York kind of action. Remember, this is Letitia James up there going after him. How long she'd been trying to pull this. The moment he was made president of the United States, elected president, she's been claiming, tax fraud and all these things. The Trump organization was found guilty. Craig, I guess that means they're going to just get some big old handcuffs and go arrest the Trump building and take it up to Sing Sing and leave it out in the yard. It's wake up, folks. It's all their shell game. This is all, kabuki theater that they're trying to make you think that Donald Trump was responsible for all this. Listen, do you remember 2-3 years ago when Michael Bloomberg was asked the question, Mr. Bloomberg, there's sexual harassment and sexual assaults going on at Bloomberg News. What do you have to say about that? And he said, I sold the place 6 years ago. What are you talking about? Go talk to somebody that works there. It's kind of like that. And Bloomberg said that, and that was the end of the story. Nobody cared. But it's happening to Trump and his on it. So it's, well, Donald Trump did it. When did he do that? Yeah.
Well, and that's the point. Number one, there's only basically what it is. It's a tax case, so there's going to be fines, and that's really about it. So there's going to be fines for those things, and like I said, they guilty of things like a staff member or an executive. You pay their personal expenses, and then you don't declare that as income for them, and that is what they're being dinged with.
But here's what they were saying, though, Craig, that was part of his compensation package. It was in his contract.
Right, but they were supposed to declare it as income. My point, or they're supposed to declare it as income. My point is that's a minor thing. It's a stupid thing to be taking a company to court for.
Well, and listen, I don't even believe that it's an actual issue because, again, if this had been a real tax fraud issue, feds would have been there a long time ago. But even they're smart enough to say, we're not going after this. But you get that Nimrod chick, Letitia James, she thinks she can go after him. I mean, Craig, this is the kind of stuff, if I say, listen, you want me to come work for you? All right, Let me see the contract. I want this much annual salary. I also want
Right.
a car with a gas card for free, and you take care of all that. It's
Right.
the company's car. Okay. Oh, you didn't declare that you have that car. It's not my car. It's their car. I'm just using it. It's company car.
Right. But the company's supposed to say, yeah, that's income. I mean, they're supposed to say that.
No. Not if you declare it as, and you put it in the
Right.
contract as
Well,
a condition of their employment.
My point is that's the dispute that they're having. And once again, minor issue, not something, first of all, that the attorney general for the state ought to be going after. And oh, by the way, and I don't know if you saw this story, but Republicans in the House have also said they're going to investigate Letitia James and basically what is amounting to political prosecutions. Because remember, when she ran on the idea that she was going to go after and get Donald Trump. And that's exactly what she's been doing, is political prosecutions. And that's really been all she's been doing, because crime is going crazy there in New York.
Oh, yeah. They're not worried about regular crime. They got to go after Trump. Got to stop Trump.
Don't need to deal with real crime. We need to go after Trump because he sends mean tweets.
Like, I think it was Representative Jim Jordan said it earlier this week that now that he's going to be the chairman of his committee, and normally he was sending letters to ATF and other agencies asking for information, and they were ignoring him because he was one of the minority party on the committee. Now he's going to be the majority party on the committee. So when they take the vote, do we put a subpoena on this? Guess what the vote's going to be? Now those letters are going to have subpoenas attached to them, and they'll be sent to all these people like Letitia James. She won't be able to ignore it. You get a subpoena from Congress, there's going to be repercussions if you don't answer it.
Well, there are now. See, before when Eric Holder got that and decided he was going to ignore it, they slapped him with contempt of Congress and nobody went after him. Well, they've now set the precedent that if you are engaged in contempt of Congress, you can and will go to jail.
Yes.
They have set the precedent.
Yep.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Moving right along, we talked a little bit about this the other day, the new Oregon gun control law. You had the Attorney General there, the Department of Justice there, actually request that it be put on hold. And, well, at least part of it, the part that they wanted, is now being put on hold, while the actual gun permitting process thingy is actually now being held, meaning it's not being implemented because they don't know how they're going to implement it or how they're going to pay for it. But things like the magazine ban, parts like that are in fact now going to be kept in place. But I thought it was interesting, depending on who you read. Like that one I just shared with you was from PBS, but there was the one that Mike sent over to me that basically said, "Oh, it's on hold." Right? Well, let me find that one real quick.
We have two separate cases here, Craig. So let's be clear on this. According to the federal judge, yes, the permitting process will go on hold because the state petitioned and said that they don't have the ability to do it. Then Judge
a county judge, a state judge. You're right. You are correct.
The state judge came over and said, "Nope, it's all on." He put I think a 7-day stay on it. It said it's all on hold. It cannot go into effect. And he gave both sides 7 days to come up with the further argument. So they were granted. The petitioners, Gun Owners America, and some owners there in Oregon petitioned to get it thrown out, or to at least have its constitutionality examined by the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. And the judge said, "Okay." And the state argued, "No, well, it's got to go into effect." And the judge said, "Well, it's never been in effect before. What's a week more going to mean?"
Well, there you go. Well, so, Mike, I'm glad you read because I saw both of them and I was like, okay, well, anyway. Yeah, I messed that one up. I'll own it.
We know.
Hey,
come on, folks, give the guy a break. He's black. He's been through enough.
Oh, that is cold. You know what? You keep your white privilege to yourself. All right.
I am.
I'm feeling slightly oppressed here through the internet, all right? You want to tone down your bandwidth, buddy?
Keep
your bandwidth to yourself.
Yes. Yep.
Anyway, so it'll be interesting things because I'm not an aficionado. I'm not an expert on the Oregon Constitution, but if I know Oregonians, I'm willing to bet that there's some wiggle room there to be able to have that thing ruled unconstitutional.
Yeah, the problem is that the Oregon now, like many other states where you are, their state Supreme Court is predominantly all a liberal court. So I see this probably getting overturned and then going to the next level and getting reinforced. So
yeah,
this is going to flip flop one or two more times, folks.
That will not surprise me one bit should that be the case. Speaking of flip flopping, vaccine mandate, military vaccine mandate. We now have folks in the Democratic Party. We have the House now is poised to actually pass the overturning of the removal or the end, shall we say, of the vaccine mandate for the military. But the White House is still calling the removal of the vaccine mandate a mistake. Now, the reason why this is talking about, I'm wondering if Biden will sign the NDAA or the National Defense Authorization Act, is because that's where the rescission of this particular mandate would be in existence. So the key is, once again, they would have to rescind all of the. He would have to veto all of the NDAA or National Defense Authorization Act in order to keep that from taking effect.
Yeah, and it comes down to the timing, right? Are they going to, are they going to sign it? Are they not going to sign it? Does this go into the next Congress? Do they do the, emergency authorization for funding thing? So, as far as whether the president's going to sign it or not, the president doesn't know whether he's going to sign it or not, because the president doesn't know where he is or the time of day or if his butt's been wiped. Okay, he's going to do whatever his chief of staff and whatever his council of elders does there, and that's what we'll have to wait and see. Meantime, you've got the military with the lowest retention rates and the lowest recruiting rate, basically in the history of the military, definitely of our modern all volunteer service, and it's a catastrophe waiting to happen for all of us.
Oh yeah, once again, for the most part, these are healthy young men who, by the way, are also within a group, young men and women, but in particular the young men are in a group that is at higher risk for myocarditis or cardio issues, heart issues, as a result of these vaccines. It's the reason why you see a number of professional athletes say, "Yeah, no, I'm not getting the vaccine," because they've seen it. And it's funny because I didn't even really think about it, but I know at least one person, possibly a second, who were younger, healthy men who, not long after getting the vaccine, died of cardiac issues. Their doctors did not say it was because they got the vaccine, but these were, once again, otherwise young, healthy men with no history of heart conditions.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
absolutely.
I hate to say it, but I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. And once again, if you're talking about the military, overwhelmingly, that's what you're talking about. Young, mostly young men. And if they had history of cardiac issues, they probably wouldn't still be in the military.
Yes. Yeah. It is just so much to go into, but, looking at the clock, I'll just say that you're absolutely right. The military's in the shambles. They need to figure out what they're doing either way and move on. And that what they should be doing is dumping this stupid mandate. So
yes. Well, especially since we're not talking about a pandemic anymore. We're not even talking about. We're just not. There's no reason for it. Although I still see them pushing vaccines for kids, but pushing boosters for kids under 5. Really?
Go ahead, Sheep. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's move on to our parting shot, which is brought to you by Hog Holsters. That's right, Hog Holsters. Get yourself a custom holster for concealed carry. All you got to do is go to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use that discount code. It's right there. Oh, sorry, right there. It's right there. Discount code right there. The Rundown, all caps, all caps, the rundown. Get yourself a discount code. Buy one for yourself, buy one for your friend. It's a great opportunity, great time for yourself to get some gifts. So hit them up. All right, let's move on to the first one. Seeing as how we just had a special election, and just wondering about those who grew up in free America, Georgia, why would you vote for Warnock, for a Democrat? Because quite frankly, I know it doesn't seem like a long-term thing, but this is pretty much you. And for those of you who are listening and not watching, it says voting liberal, and it's got a guy who's got a noose around his neck, and he's watering a plant that is a very, very small plant. Well, guess what? Eventually, thinking, there's no danger here. Eventually, that plant is going to grow, and that noose is going to basically have you hanging, and you don't even, and you're too dumb to realize it.
Now leave that up. Hold it right there.
Okay.
Greg, two things I see when I look. I see this meme. Two things I think. One is it's one of them. They're thinking memes. I don't like the thinking memes. Just make me laugh. I don't want to have to ponder everything going on. And then as you're thinking about this meme, you go, "Oh, I get it now." Oh, except what's with the 100-foot of rope? Is this in the Sequoia National Forest? What is this guy doing?
Well, I think the idea of the meme is that it's going to happen a long time off. When really it ain't that, we're not that far off. Maybe this would be a little more accurate, maybe 20, 30 years ago. But nowadays, that rope should be a little shorter. That tree should be a little taller.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like a 100-foot of rope there. All I get from really looking into this meme is that he's never going to be able to leave his tree for more than 100 feet. He's just have to wait by it. It's the old ball and tree trick, All
right. Well, how about this? Since we're talking about memes, let's go to the Star Wars memes. You wanna share this one with the folks?
Yeah, this is a good meme. See, you don't have to think about it, and you're immediately caught on because you see old Obi-Wan there. So it's got Luke and 3PO sitting there. He's young Luke and 3PO, not kid, but episode 4, regular Star Wars. It says, "You fought in the meme wars." To Ben, and he goes, "I was once a poop poster," but he didn't say poop. He said it was before the dark times, before big tech censorship. Back in the freewheeling days, baby. Back in the freewheeling days.
Right. When you could post memes like this. It's got Joe Biden on there talking about gun control works. And then we've got Adolf Hitler saying, "I agree." We got Fidel Castro saying, "Joseph Stalin. So do I." Mao Zedong. Him saying, "Yep." We got Gaddafi. Yes. We got Idi Amin. Yep. I don't know who that other one is because I didn't rift up, but I know that last one is Kim Jong-il.
Yep.
Saying so smart.
I think that's what's the Pol Pot. That's Pol Pot.
Pol Pot. There we go. Yeah, back in the days when you could point out that evil was evil, right?
Yep.
And one of the first things that evil dictators did is they disarmed the citizenry. That was their goal. Once they disarmed you, they could do pretty much anything they wanted to you. And unfortunately, many of the gun grabbers out there do not get it. But it is what it is.
Right. What they should get is bent, right?
Yeah. Well, nowadays that's the sort of meme that will get fact checked because they'll say, "Well, they never passed gun control."
No, they didn't. Yeah.
It was called gun confiscation. They just took the guns. They didn't pass a law. They just took them. But that'll be sick. Facebook will say this meme is missing context.
Right. Yeah. And your throat is missing a punch. Yeah.
Tell you what we're not going to miss, though. We're not going to miss that second opportunity to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Say hello to Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Make sure you get over there and get yourself a barrel purchase for your AR, rifle and pistol caliber, and pistol and rifle caliber lengths available. California Republican Assembly, go there, see what they're doing, help them out. We got a little bit of time. Okay, time's up. Get there now. but you've got to get over there and help out before the next election. USCombatGear.com, best field gear, best web gear, best tactical gear around, USCombatGear.com. And again, you want that holster for you for Christmas? You want that holster for somebody else for Christmas? Do it now. Running up against the deadline here, hawgholsters.com, HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code, The Rundown, all one word, all caps.
Folks, once again, these are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Visit them. Follow the links in the description to this program. Make sure you tell them that the folks over at The Rundown sent you. And on that note, Hump Day is coming to an end. At least the Hump Day edition of this program is coming to an end. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will see you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. Have fun until then.
Tomorrow.